Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Flip City Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Wayne.
And I am... Oh,
that's your cue.
And I am your other host, Greg. I wasn't sure if you were going last name or anything.
We can if you care to divulge it. I think we usually your web domain is Greg Goslin, so it doesn't even matter.
Point. You're very true.
Your stuff is on the internet. Your literal stuff, all of it. There is no hiding. We are your rad retro hosts of all things Ghostbusters, pro wrestling, TMNT, all of your rad retro pop culture stuff, and all things Ghostbusters adjacent, like what we're going to talk about today. We want to just bring you some fun deep dives, some fun discussions. It's going to be a blast. And while we're at it, we're going to bust the specters of boredom, Greg. We're going to do it. And so here we are, the third episode of the Flip City Podcast. And so, Greg, I just want you to know this whole test trial period is over because we're official now. Like, we have our own feed. We're no longer sharing the feed on the One to Grow On podcast stream. We are our own unit.
It took, a few years and 3 episodes, but you have beat me into submission as far as a sign on to this podcast. But in reality, I think the last 2 recording sessions that we did were just good old-fashioned fun, and I had a freaking good time, and I enjoy the recording sessions, and I enjoy talking to you, Wayne.
Well, good. Greg's having a good time, so we're all having a good time, and we're in. So this is it. So now, here's how it works, okay? Because this episode is still going to go on the One to Grow On feed, okay? And then with this episode, it's a simulcast. This is like when Raw and Nitro were on the same nights, and they were when McMahon said, the contract says McMahon, so the contract says Flip City, but it's on its own feed. So if you're listening to this on the One to Grow On feed, you can hop on over to flipcityghostbusters.com. By the time this goes live, that's going to be live, and you'll be able to subscribe to the Flip City Ghostbusters all on your own on any platform whatsoever. So that's it, man. Like, literally, I spent the day yesterday sending all of our info to all the podcatchers, and now they're in their process of picking it up. It is
true.
So
he did spend the day doing this, and he reported to me that he did this, and I said, "Great job, Wayne." And so this is it. If you subscribe, you have to subscribe because we're committed to this, and not to be crass, but you're stuck with us. So, this is going to be, we are taking this from what started as hey, we are 2 buddies that like Ghostbusters and really don't want to join any of the local franchises. So, we're going to just start our own. And now it has become a podcast for you to enjoy. So enjoy it in your ear holes.
For the record, I really like our local.
I'm not trash talking, but I don't know,
But we're our own thing. We are our own thing. We're our own people. Shout out to the Hernando County Ghostbusters. They come on out to my nonprofit several times a year, and also there's 2. There's 3. I have a little tiny county, and there's 3 franchises in one county. So the Hernando County Ghostbusters, and then there's also, I love these guys, the Brooksville R&D Ghostbusters. So they are the research and development team. I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit. Do you know what these guys do? They literally go out there and they do these fun displays, and they teach kids scientific experiments. They're literally coming to my camp later this summer, and they're making slime with the kids. How fun is that?
I meant I was not in any way trash talking the local groups, but I just, I don't have.
Tell me how much you can't stand the Shirley, New York Ghostbusters. We have
the Long Island Ghostbusters, and they're great guys, definition of great guys. And
great guys.
And honestly, what's crazy is riding around the neighborhood, there are some times where I will see the Ecto parked locally, so I'm going to guess one of them lives in my neighborhood, or there's just something strange going on quite often.
Oh, man, I would so badly, if my wife ever came into the house one day and said, "You can turn our car into an Ecto," I don't know what I would do.
Well, yeah. So I mean, there had been when I was like my last lease was up. I was looking to get a new car, and Kim was on Facebook Marketplace, and there was a couple of older station wagons. She's like, "Wouldn't you just want to get one of these and like make it into like an Ecto?" And I was like, "I don't really want an older car." So I did the next best thing, and I got some obnoxious neon green stickers of a Mini Puff and the GB2 logo for the back of my, if you will.
That's awesome. Okay, so here's the deal. Before we go into the actual topic of the day, you said you had a beef that you had to squash.
Oh, not really a beef, but like I took a note in my phone to remind me to call you out on something that you said the last episode, and I want to lay it all out. I want to lay it all out. It's not really a beef, but it's more like a what the heck. So, just to be clear, when you said that you were fans of the Intercontinental title wrestlers, right? You named a couple. I believe you named Macho Man. You named Ted DiBiase.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, my beef is you named some pretty significant wrestlers right off the bat. And then you compared them to the Masters of the Universe. But the first guy that you named was Ram Man. And I don't know if I'm putting that in anybody's like top 5, whatever. So.
No, first of all, this is not where I thought this was going, by the way. But number 2, you cannot deny the awesomeness of Ram Man. I'm sorry. Like, you can't. He was built different. So first off, he was like one of the first like differently built He-Man guys, right? So you had every single He-Man had the same exact body. All of them had the 6-pack abs, had the muscles, had all that kind of stuff, right? And then you had Husky Ran Man. And all I could tell you is I could relate. Okay? All right? I could just relate to the stocky guy who was among the group, differently bodied than everybody else, could use his head in a good situation, and he was different. He was absolutely different. And I didn't have like an LJN fed, but my brother and I and all my cousins, we had a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe WWE fed, and everybody, like every one of the He-Man figures actually was had the counterpart of a WWE wrestler, WWF wrestler. And you'll never guess who Ram Man was. You'll never guess, because this is going to completely date me and tell you how old I am. And I just knocked everything over. All right. You want to know who he was? Gorilla Monsoon.
Listen, I just didn't expect you to throw out a character that looks essentially like a cup of coffee to be...
I'm pretty sure in like 30 seconds I nailed it. There's a reason to love Ram Man. You know what?
Also...
I'm going to start the Ram Man Club.
No idea who Mechaneck is, but just the fact that you threw out those names, I was dying.
How do you not know who Mechaneck is? He's the guy with the neck that
But also on the same thing, Moss Man.
Oh, Moss Man.
Just the name.
Can you tell that I like
alone?
All my Moss Man. Listen, all of the. If you could tell, I was a big fan of all the like alternate action figures. So like. If they all had something different about them, like I was all about it. Mechaneck, Buzz Off. Who doesn't love Buzz Off?
Listen, I'm gonna not to divulge too far into the He-Man thing, but I had some He-Man characters. Rarely did they play as He-Man characters. Like they were, He-Man and Skeletor. Those were the staples. Everybody else was kind of like a side character on a quest. Daniel LaRusso took out most of those guys many a times.
Oh my gosh! And you had the Daniel LaRusso figure from Karate Kid,
and I have Johnny Lawrence, the real Karate Kid.
Guys, this is literally peeling back the curtain to future episodes of what's coming, because there is going to
Long Island's own Daniel LaRusso, Ralph Macchio, used to live in the next town over from me.
Is he a Ghostbuster?
No, this was when I was younger. But I will say when I was starstruck, there was my one time meeting Ralph Macchio. I couldn't speak. I was the Karate Kid 2 years in a row for Halloween. So like he's a Long Island icon. Bigger than Billy Joel, I would say.
Oh my goodness. Why are you killing me here? First off, when you were the Karate Kid 2 years in a row, were you the same Karate Kid like from the same movie? Or were you Karate Kid 1 year and Karate Kid 2 the next year?
Same costume, different headband, because they released 2 different colorways in the headband. One was red. So then the following year, I figured he was probably going to wear this red one in the next movie. He did not, but I did.
He did not. That's an alternate universe evil Daniel LaRusso. That's Karate Kid 3 Daniel LaRusso when he went with Cobra Kai for a hot cup of coffee.
Classic.
Okay, here's the topic today. Are you ready? Because this is a big deal. This is something we've never done before in our entire history of 2 episodes. We've never done this, and it's new. We're starting something today. This is a special draft episode. Okay? So what the rules are simple. For a draft episode, for whatever purpose, we're going to have a draft. And so today we are drafting our ultimate Ghostbusters team. Okay? And so when it comes to this episode here, it's real simple. We have a draft pool that we already had decided on ahead of time. And in this case, the draft pool was every single Ghostbusters team member / kind of like adjacent team member. And so all the other kind of side characters, if they were a receptionist, if they were an accountant, they're on this draft pool list. Okay. And now our mission is to draft our own personal ultimate Ghostbuster team. And the way that it works is simple. We have a handful of teams. We have 4 people on the Ghostbusters team. All right, so first off, we're going to be picking 4 Ghostbusters. Next, we're going to pick a ghost mascot. So some kind of spectral mascot that's going to be living in the headquarters, okay, and kind of part of what we do. This is a good guy, so this is going to be somebody who is going to be a friend of our team. Now, whether they were a friend of the team on the movies or the shows, that's one thing, doesn't matter. In our universe, they're going to be a friend of our team. The next thing we're going to draft is a vehicle. And then lastly, and then you threw this in, we're going to draft a theme song.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there are a variety of wonderful songs that accompany our favorite franchise. So.
All right. So here's the deal. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do this in the most diplomatic way possible.
Fights it to death.
We're going to flip a coin. No, we can't. No. What are you doing? Okay, I'm going to see if we can... Let me turn on the volume here. Okay. I'm asking Siri to flip a coin. Yeah.
No.
You didn't know you could do that?
Yeah.
Are you serious? I'm teaching you things. Okay. Didn't you used to work at Apple?
I mean, I was there.
All right. You call it. What do you want?
I'm going to go tails.
Okay. So if it's tails, you start, and that means you get the first draft pick.
Sounds good.
Okay? All right. Here we go. I'm also watching the time, by the way. If we go too long in our picks, we're going to go lightning round.
Yeah, sounds like a blast.
I'm just saying. All right. Here we go. Hey, Siri. Flip a coin.
It's tails.
Ooh. Oh, no. That was very fast. I was kind of expecting
do 2 out of 3. Does it make you feel better?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know if she's in collusion.
I'm secure. I'm secure in my team. I have a strategy. Do you have a strategy?
Yeah, I do. But, this is sometimes when we go out for dinner and I say I'm going to order something and then I change at the last minute. This could be the same thing. I've done some research. I'm not going to show you the front of this, but I have 2 pages of research here. And I've consulted movies and this the comic book I own.
All right, so here's the deal. The whole idea is we're going to pick our Ghostbusters team, our ultimate team. And I kind of want us to, not necessarily defend the pick, but tell us a little bit about why you picked this person in particular, okay? I've got a strategy. I've got roles that I'm filling, and I'll kind of fill you in on that as we go. But Greg Goslin, you get the first pick. Who is your first team member?
All right, so as far as how I'm going, I kind of want to open things up a little crazy. And, this could be controversial because I love a lot of the OG Ghostbusters. But I'm taking Ghostbusters Answer the Call 2016. Jillian Holtzman is going number 1 in the draft. You've been Holtzman's, baby.
Whoa, hold on a second. Your first pick right out of the bat is a 2016 Ghostbuster. First round draft pick.
First round draft pick, because I have done some research and I watched 2016 again last night, and what she brought to that movie and what she brought to this comic that I read, I enjoy that character, and I feel like she hits on a bunch of different levels, because as soon as that they showed that character, a lot of people were like, it's just Egon in a female form, but it's not. It's, I will say, more Egon and Ray, and a combination of everything that I enjoy about Ghostbusters, whether that's comedy or just the fact that after they caught a ghost in that theater, she's standing there screaming, "We put a ghost in a box!" Like that's hilarious. So, this is a strategic move, because I have a couple of other ideas later on, which could be fun.
I've got a feeling that your Ghostbusters team is not going to be. Well, it already started off that way. It's not going to be a tradition. It's going to be full of surprises. We got some loose cannons. On the team. I like Holtzman. She was my favorite character in 2016. So I'm going to give that to you. Way to go on your first pick and keeping everybody on their toes. And by the way, we want to hear what you think. So on all social media platforms, you can actually, comment, tell us what you think. And then specifically on Spotify, we're going to have the question in the podcast, who would you pick as your ultimate team? So just letting you know that. So here we go. My first pick. I'm not even going to keep you in suspense. He's the heart of the Ghostbusters, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ray Stantz. Ooh. Dr. Ray Stantz is the heart of the Ghostbusters. In my opinion, there is no Ghostbusters without Ray. I mean, Ray is not just the reason why they are all involved as a team in this entire thing, but also go all the way into Frozen Empire. And I would dare say that Ray is very close to the lead or second lead behind Phoebe. And so it's just, Ray's got a story arc in this entire Ghostbusters saga, where from the very beginning of the first movie, he's there. He puts his house, he mortgages his house. He gets a third mortgage on his home just to start the franchise. Clearly, it's a financial, mess by Ghostbusters 2. Winston goes and bankrolls Ray's a cult, and then, keeps that alive. And here we are in the golden years. We still have Ray Stantz standing for what is right on this side of the spectral dimension. So, Ray Stantz. You can't argue, right?
No, you can't.
Love
so
it.
I didn't expect that. I didn't.
You did not. See, look, so I'm surprising you too. Look
at
that.
I mean, now this allows me to slide in with because I had 2 number 1 picks, and I was able to grab my number 1, and now I will grab the other number 1 that was on my list. And there is only one choice. It's my favorite Ghostbuster of all time. Dr. Pete Venkman, he's coming to Greg's. He's coming with me. I'm taking Bill Murray, and I'm coming over, because sometimes...
You see me deleting?
What?
I'm deleting now. I have to delete off my list.
So, sometimes stuff happens. Someone's got to deal with it, and who are you going to call? Bill Murray. I'm calling Pete Venkman. He's coming to help me out. And him and Holtzman were my 2 number 1s. And my goal was to throw you off by taking Holtzman number 1 and see if I could let Murray slide to the second pick.
Man, that was a 1-2 punch. Oh, I got to tell you. Okay, Pete, how could you not recruit Peter Venkman? Because honestly, I mean, he's the man. I mean, it's one of those things where when it comes to he's the face of the Ghostbusters. If Ray's the heart, Venkman is the face of it, right? He's who you would send out on Good Morning America to talk about what happened in New York, right? He's the guy that you would send out there and charm the reporters and talk to the public and talk to the mayor. So, all right, great job. Now I have to regroup. I got to rethink my entire life here. Okay. So now that I know that Greg is going for the throat, I think I'm gonna hold strong with the company line here. I think we're going through. So if I'm filling roles here. There are roles that I have to fill in this team. And so if Ray is the heart, then I got to pick a leader. I have to pick somebody who's a leader. And I'm not saying that he's my alternate, but I'm saying this might hurt a little bit because in the role of leader of this team, I need somebody who fills the role for the next generation, somebody who is as much of a lover of the Ghostbusters as ever, who is well familiar with the past of the Ghostbusters, but also brings a modern eye and is quite frankly a fan of science. My leader of the team, Gary Gruberson.
All right. Well, I mean, you've crushed my Paul Rudd fanboy dreams, and I'm going to go hide under the table and cry now. So
here's the thing with Gary, okay? He comes on, in Afterlife as the substitute teacher or the science teacher for summer school, right? And like he comes in as that. He's a seismologist. He's not quite, the scientist that everybody else is, but he knows science. He loves the Ghostbusters because he's the only one that remembers, what life was like in the 80s for them. And so, here you go. And then in Frozen Empire, man, like he just gets you. Like he loves ghostbusting so much that, he brings in the lyrics to the song, when he's talking to Callie, and he's just saying, busting makes me feel good. Busting makes me feel good. So Gary Gruberson is my number 2. And he's in the role of the leader. I think he would make a great leader for this team.
Whew. I don't know what to do now. So let's.
This is cutthroat, so this is very
question. Now, if there is a specific version of a character, should I be mentioning that? Like, do you want me to be like?
My general attitude about this is everybody's in their prime. Like this is like living on a parallel universe here. So everybody's in their prime unless you state otherwise. So if you want like a particular version of somebody, have at it because it's your team and they're living in your multiverse.
All right. Whew, I don't know what to do now.
All right. Number 3, Greg.
I didn't think I would.
Or number 2. Sorry, number 2. Number 3. Number 3 for you.
This guy's trying to throw me off.
I can't count.
All right, so man, I am at a loss right now. That was going to be my number 3 pick, and I'm kind of rattled. And
get out.
So
you had to have picked.
I have a list of alternates, but now I'm trying to specifically go with what I want to.
Man, we've stumped Greg.
Race dance is off the books. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm going to go future focused. And I am going to take a Spangler. Not the OG.
The contract says
but it
Spangler.
says Phoebe Spangler. I think the dynamic between Phoebe and Holtzman would be very entertaining, and I think it would be a good look going forward. Have Holtzman and Phoebe together. Phoebe is, she's a Spangler, and she is going to literally take this franchise and move it forward. So we're going.
I think she would bring some grounding to the team because you got Pete Venkman, you got Holtzman. And I think of anything, the youngest member would probably be the one that brings more balance to the team.
So I am going Phoebe Spangler as my 3rd pick.
Now, what'd you think is Phoebe in Frozen Empire? What'd you think of her, as a character and as a Ghostbuster in Frozen Empire? I thought she
was great, and honestly, rewatching last night, I watched a few real Ghostbuster episodes. And it just even hammered down the point that movie is real Ghostbusters in reality. Because
100%.
There are, I watched the Mr. Sandman Dream Me a Dream episode, which I would say go back and revisit. The soundtrack alone is worth watching the episode for. It is a great lesson on 80s synth waves and stuff. But there is all of those interactions with ghosts and relationships with ghosts, just like in the movie. So, I thought Phoebe showed some growth in the movie as far as, there was a little bit more than just an awkward genius kid. She messed up, which honestly, like, happens in every Ghostbusters movie. Like, most of the catastrophic events are caused by our heroes, and then they have to fix it. So, she was just staying true to the brand. So,
very true. What I appreciate about Phoebe is that she brings the smarts of Egon and the heart of Ray, like, the love of of what's happening, and it's kind of like, this is what happens if Egon exhibited a little bit more emotion, But I also feel like in Frozen Empire, she grew a little bit, because in Frozen, in Afterlife, she was very much like awkward kid, very socially awkward, didn't kind of like fit in, and I think she kind of maybe is like from hanging out with, podcast and like Trevor and all them, like maybe she kind of like opened up a little bit and kind of made it a little bit easier to kind of adapt. So I like her. Okay, good pick. But I got to keep filling my roles here, okay? So the heart of the Ghostbusters on my team, Ray Stantz. The leader of the team, Gary Gruberson, okay? But I got to go for the science. And the science of this team, you can only pick the one whose brain created all of this gear. The containment unit, the traps, the proton pack. Ladies and gentlemen, the OG Spengler, Egon Spengler.
Right.
That's it. What else can you say? I'm going to drop the mic. We're going to log off right now.
Then we won't be able to record. So,
very true. Very true. Egon Spengler's my guy. I mean, honestly, there is no... Imagine just... he has already got this rapport with Ray. Imagine his rapport with Gary, who is, as much of just like, he's smart. He knows his science, but he's also just like a dude. He's goofy. He's a fanboy. And so, imagine that dynamic. I got to go with Egon. It may not be the most like loose cannon pick, but it's a strong, solid pick. He's Ghostbusters. Egon.
Classic.
Classic. You got nothing on that.
How can I pick apart you choosing Egon? Like, there's really no way around it,
It's true. But now you get to round out your Ghostbusters, man. This is it. Number 4.
Whew. Number 4. All right. Well, I'm going to go with somebody that is multi-faceted as far as their resources and ability to help the team. And like I said, in research of watching real Ghostbusters, I forgot how much I enjoyed the realness of this character, because he represented every other person that could have been a Ghostbusters. So I'm going to take Winston Zeddemore.
Oh! Here I am deleting again. You see what I've taken? Like, it's I had a strategy. I had a way I was going, and you blew it up. Talk to me about Winston.
Well, I think, Winston was just in it for a steady paycheck, is what he said. And then, as we learned in the later movies, most recently Afterlife and Frozen Empire, is he got a lot more out of it from being a Ghostbuster. And then watching some of the real Ghostbuster movies, real Ghostbuster shows, episodes, he spoke about in some of the shows, like, doubting himself and having self-doubt because he wasn't a scientist. He wasn't like the brains like the other guys were, and he was just the dude that was there to do it. And then rounding out his character now as he is the Tony Stark, or he is the Nick Fury of the Ghostbusters. So everything, the future of the Ghostbusters is obviously going through Winston, whether that's other franchises or a new, firehouse, or there's lots of new tech and stuff. So I feel like Winston, Holtzman, Phoebe, And then Mouthpiece Bill Murray. I think it's going to be a beautiful group again.
I like how everybody's going by character names except
Bill
for
Murray
Bill Murray.
and Pete Venkman.
You drafted Bill Murray. You didn't draft Venkman.
That's okay.
Now, I will tell you, here's the cool thing, is that Winston doesn't have a ton of like characterization in the first couple of movies, but if you ever read the books, so if you've ever read like the novelization of the original movie, like he's got a backstory, and he's an everyman, but he's not like just a dude off the streets. He's a former Marine. He's got engineering experience. He spent some time working in museums and things like that. So he's got like this background that I wish we could have like unpacked a little bit more. But Winston's a solid pick. I'm all for it. I now have to fill some pretty big shoes here. And so here's my thought. I am thinking that if I'm going to make this happen, we're going to do this with another everyman. This has got to be somebody who's going to be an everyman. We're going to do this. This is it. The name on the contract says Spangler.
Another Spangler?
But it's not who you think. Trevor Spangler. Okay. I think this is the sleeper character of the entire franchise. Okay. And I think that Trevor brings a lot of this everyman stuff. He's kind of like along for the ride, right? Like he, in the sense of like Winston's characterization in the movies, like he just got thrown into this thing, right? He got dragged kicking and screaming to Oklahoma. He, discovered the existence of ghosts. He found the ecto. He found this. He's like, it's a good thing he knows how to work cars, right? So he's a mechanic, and so he can get the ecto rolling and going. But here you go with, this guy who he just wants a regular life, but now he's got to bust ghosts. And I think that of all the Spanglers, he's the guy that's saying, hey, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything. And so my everyman of the team, so rounding out my team, I have the heart, Ray Stantz, the science, Egon Spengler, the leader, Gary Gruberson, and the everyman, Trevor Spangler.
So you have 50% of your team, just so you know, they're going to be paid in just memories, though, based on...
Correct. Based on Gary's. I'm not getting paid. I'm getting paid in memories. This is great. I love getting paid in memories. It's fantastic. It doesn't pay the bills, but all right. Okay, so now here's the thing. Now we have the next round, I would say. It's the mascot. Who is the ghost that's hanging out with the team? Who's the ghost that is going to be on the cover of the animated series of this team and all that? So you still get your pick, so you get to go first.
Listen, you can see my Slimer back there. I'm a Slimer guy, but I'm also a Stay Puft guy. But there is something about these little jerks that I love. So I'm going to draft not just one, but a collection of mini puffs as my menaces that'll be wreaking havoc. So they are, let me tell you, they are pretty damn close to Peter Venkman as my favorite Ghostbusters character. Like, these little, like, I just, everything about it. And, like, throughout my office, they are sprinkled and they are causing chaos. And that's what I enjoyed about them. The scene in Walmart and the scene, in Raise a Cult. It's just the fact that one of them was burning their friend with a cigarette lighter.
They're pretty destructive.
I love them.
These
They're my
guys.
vibe. Based on like the last episode, everybody knows I like jerks. So like, if I had to choose a Shawn Michaels of the Ghostbusters universe, it would be these little mini puffs. So that's
So you pick mascots.
I think they're a package deal because if you want to be technical, there is a issue of the Now Comics Real Ghostbusters where these mini puffs can converge together to make the giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So,
which So we haven't done like a review of this movie or anything like that. But I believe, based on the end credit scene of Empire, Frozen Empire, which, by the way, no surprise to you, I've already purchased the movie on demand, and so we've watched Frozen Empire from the house multiple times already. I have studied this movie. I love this movie. This might be my top 3 Ghostbusters movie.
What's number 1?
Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is my favorite movie, period, of all time. And then Ghostbusters 2 is my number 2. And then Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is my number 3 favorite movie. And it's pretty much neck and neck, but I mean, you got to rank them. So anyway, but my belief is that based on the end credit scene, I think we're going to see a convergence of these mini puffs. I think they're going to play a pretty big role in whatever the next thing is.
Be like that little troll guy from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where they like run together, and then boom, here's a big troll.
Yep, exactly. That's what we're going to get. But I think we're going to get something to that effect, and I think they're going to learn the lesson. I think they're going to be on the side of the team instead of causing chaos. I think podcast is going to be the key to kind of making it all work. Anyway, mascot of the team. Now remember, we said this is a multiverse. This is an alternate universe place. And so we can pick the best version of that character that we want on the team. And so listen to me carefully. When I say the mascot of my Ghostbusters team is going to be real Ghostbusters
That's the correct version of Slimer.
That is the correct version of Slimer, but he is that version. So I'm not talking about, he's great. Slimer in the other movies is great, but Slimer in those other movies is not Slimer. Slimer in those movies is the angry Spud. And like they don't refer to him as Slimer in the movies, right? He just exists. But Slimer in the real Ghostbusters is in its truest form. He is a mascot. He's a member of the team. He messes things up for the team. You can count on him in a pinch, and he is going to slime the heck out of Trevor every chance he gets on our adventures.
I think the closest version in real life action that you got of that is the Frozen Empire version of Slimer, because that was yeah. I mean, even 100%. Slimer and the real Ghostbusters, when it switched over to that. Is that? Yeah, that was still fun.
That's not my favorite. That's not. No, Slimer and the real Ghostbusters is the cousin Oliver of Ghostbusters for me. It's when Slimer started getting like his own little sideshow, right? And then he was like a member of the neighborhood, and his best friend was the mail woman. All right. No. I couldn't. No. We'll discuss this. I have a whole thing. I think that's a third Slimer altogether. I don't think he's part of the normal.
All right, Wayne's headcanon. Here we go.
All right. On to the next thing. We got to pick a vehicle. All right, man. It's your pick. Who is going to be the vehicle where all of these guys go to their jobs?
So this is a tough one for me, and I have to break it down for you because my all-time favorite Ghostbusters vehicle is the Ecto-1A, okay? Because it is as gaudy and beautiful as a car could be. And, I love that vehicle. But when you're using it for busting ghosts, it needs to have some upgraded features. And there is a image that lives in my mind from the real Ghostbusters of the Ecto-1 screaming down the road. It's an illustration. I had it on a tray as a child. And there is a Ghostbuster hanging out the side. There's a Ghostbuster standing on the top. And the closest thing to that, which is my ideal Ecto-1, is the upgraded Frozen Empire Ecto-1 with the gunner seat and the drone ghost trap and the sweet, sweet red striping on it. I'm taking the Frozen Empire Ecto-1 as my vehicle.
Okay, that's a good pick.
And because it's my canon, I can add all of the crap from the Ecto 1A on it, and it still has that gunner seat. So, and I had these ideas: gunner seat slime thrower, like just throwing it out there.
Why can't you have a drone slime thrower?
That's insane.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you. All right, so mine's going to be short and sweet because you already talked about it, but I'm claiming it, and it was my first pick, and I'm glad you didn't pick it. My vehicle is the Ecto 1A.
It's so beautiful.
Okay. It's just beautiful. I love the digital LED screen and, all that kind of stuff on there. I'm all about it. It's got the 2, which is my favorite Ghostbusters logo. And so already, we're in on that. So yes, Ecto 1A, that's my vehicle. And now we're going to round out everything with the song. What is your Ghostbusters theme song?
My Ghostbusters theme song is the theme song from the greatest Ghostbusters soundtrack of all time. And it is Ghostbusters, but it is Ghostbusters sung by Run DMC.
Gosh, killing me, Smalls.
It is the greatest Ghostbusters theme song that has ever been recorded, and it is too hot to handle and too cold to hold. So that song will be accompanying my crew.
Now, first off, those lyrics that you just said are from another song.
I did it again. No. Same.
But, okay, I'm going to go on record and tell you the Run DMC Ghostbusters theme song is the best Ghostbusters theme song, hands down. So bravo, Greg, because you won the theme contest.
Listen, if you want to trade, I have a really solid backup. So
no, because my backup is probably your backup. And so my team's theme is On Our Own by Bobby Brown.
Okay. All right.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. They call the Ghostbusters and they're in control. Got them throwing parties for a bunch of children. Well, all for Wild Slime was under the building. Come on, dude.
I didn't see you
that right there
rapping during this episode. So
well,
it is a solid.
I forgot
song.
First off that we were on video, and it's a solid song.
That whole soundtrack could just be playing. I mean, Higher and Higher could have also been my theme song because that's on my heavy rotation on Apple Music. I listen to that song way too often.
Ooh. The thing about Higher and Higher is that there's 2 versions of that song in the actual movie. And so there's the version of the song that causes the toaster to dance.
Yeah,
and then there's the version of the song. Yeah. And so then there's the other version that's playing that gets the Statue of Liberty up and moving.
Yes.
So there's that. And so for me, On Our Own, man, it's like, and then having Bobby Brown be a cameo in the movie. That was just way cool. That was one of those things like when I was a little kid, I did the, hey, I see him, and they're like, course, there he is. And he's like, hey, can I get one of those proton packs? And that's where we found out that the proton pack's not a toy.
Listen, I just wanted to do honorary mention. My second choice would have been Ghostbusters I'm Not Afraid by Fall Out Boy because that song
Fall Out Boy, I figured.
It's in my wheelhouse of music. And I was literally jotting down notes while watching 2016. And while listening to that simultaneously on my phone, there was way too much media going on last night.
All right, well, good job. All right, that was it. That rounds out our picks. So let's go over our picks real quick and establish what our Ghostbusters are. Greg, who are your Ghostbusters?
All right, my Ghostbusters are going to be, I chose Dr. Jillian Holtzman, number 1. Pete Venkman, number 2. Number 3, I chose Phoebe Spangler. 4, we took Winston Zeddemore. We are going to be represented chaotically by the Mini Puffs while driving down the streets of New York in the Frozen Empire Ecto 1 while we blast Run DMC as we drive through Hollis, Queens, listening to their version of the Ghostbusters.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that whatsoever. All right. Good job. My Ghostbusters team is the heart of the Ghostbusters. Ray Stantz. We got the science in Egon Spengler. The everyman in his grandson, Trevor Spengler. The leader of this team is going to be Gary Gruberson. The mascot of the team is Real Ghostbusters Slimer. They're going to be riding downtown in that Ecto 1A with that, by the way, with that beautiful Statue of Liberty license plate. You can't beat that whatsoever. And then the theme, On Our Own by Bobby Brown. I think we got 2 solid Ghostbusters teams to defend the multiverse against all spectral haunts. Greg,
oh,
what do you
totally
think?
agree. I had some backup ones that I didn't get to use, but I thought you were going Venkman like right away. So I was gonna pull out a wild card and be like, you could take movie Venkman, but I'm gonna take RGB Venkman, specifically Dave Coulier. So
I have a signed Dave Coulier, Pete Venkman autograph.
Way to be bragging on the podcast, bro.
Yeah, I gotta pull that picture out and I gotta show it off because that's pretty tight. Well, guys, that's it. That does it for the draft episode. So hopefully we got some more drafts coming on down the pike. We'll be back next time with another fun episode talking about something random and Ghostbusters adjacent and geeky and, just 2 dads. 2
he
geek
doesn't stop
dads
with this until you get the cease and desist.
Living
so it's
life. 2 geek.
We're gonna have like a NWO, like Jay's just gonna like static in and be like, "Not today, Wayne."
Not today. So, all right. So, and then the good news is this, man. We are the Flip City Ghostbusters everywhere. If you want to get in on the action, talk to us about our picks. Tell us how good they were, how bad they were, who did we miss. Go to flipcityghostbusters@gmail.com. Send us an email. Hey, send us a voicemail. Send us, record a little voice thing on your phone and email it to us, and maybe we'll play it on a future episode. On all socials.
Yeah, all socials. I was going to say, make sure you keep a lookout for our Instagram because we'll be posting some graphics of these rosters after the episode airs. And you could vote why my team is incredibly better than Wayne's. So
why would we do that? We can't. We're it's a multiverse. We're not even. It's not a competition, Greg. Come on.
I know, but I want to win.
I'm just kidding. My team totally would rule yours. My team has Egon and Ray on it. Come on.
I have a genius on my team. So
yeah, it's true. Very true. Flip City Ghostbusters on all socials. You could vote on your favorite team. I can't wait to see that. Here's how you can help us out as a show. Like, subscribe. Sometimes that subscribe button says follow. It doesn't matter how you do it, but if you click that button so that you keep getting new episodes automatically downloaded, that helps us. That helps other people find us. If you give us a 5-star review, we would greatly appreciate it. And then, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. Give us a 5-star review. If you give us a 5-star review, next episode, I'm going to read and pick at random a 5-star review, and I'm going to send you a handy-dandy Flip City Ghostbusters sticker. You'd be the first on your block to get one. Greg's saying, we got stickers? I've got stickers
as well. I mean, unless you live on my block, then you wouldn't be the first one to have some because I have them. But
very true. All right. So like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And then you can find the podcast on all podcast platforms. All you got to do is go to flipcityghostbusters.com and go on there and you'll be able to find your favorite podcast platform so that you can listen to us. And that's it, man. Greg, killer draft. Our first draft was pretty awesome. It's going to go down for the ages.
I think so.
And
it was very fun. Yeah. I think it's a cool concept, and who knows what you might see next as far as drafts from us. It's fun, building the ultimate team. And honestly, like, you got to remember, you've been drafting since you've been a kid. Whether it's toys or rolling dice or whatever you did, like. You may not have realized you were doing it, but when you were picking your toys to play with, you were drafting your top guys and ladies to play with. So it's good.
I think our next draft is going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be what people expect, but they're totally going to be
Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
I got the Triceratops. All right, well that's it for now. See you on the other side, Greg.
Party on, Wayne.